This is breaking news. There has been new filing by attorneys for President Trump in Georgia, raising new questions about the relationship between the two prosecutors. Of course, we're talking about Nathan Wade and FANI WILLIS, the district attorney, who appeared to make at least 35 visits to the Hapeville neighborhood where FANI WILLIS was living before the district attorney hired him to lead Fulton County's election interference prosecution for about $700,000.
Would you say that was frequent? When I say frequent, do you think prior to November 1st of 2021, you were at the condo more than 10 times?
No, sir.
So it'd be less than 10 times?
Yes, sir.
So if phone records were to reflect that you were making phone calls from the same location as the condo before November 1st of 2021, and it was on multiple occasions, the phone records would be wrong?
If phone records reflected that, yes, sir.
They'd be wrong?
They'd be wrong.
Okay.
Not a very good attorney, Wade, because Logan.
Well, clearly they knew something that we didn't.
Saydow knew what he had.
Clearly.
And Wade wasn't thinking at the time. No. He stuck with his less than 10. And now we have at least 35 visits with his phone, getting there at night. And most of the time, it also contradicts. They both said they never spent the night there. They've got multiple times where the phone got there at night and did not leave until the morning.
At some point, these people's personal lives, but you go, when is enough? And when is enough to just wrap this all up?
The timestamps on the filings, he was leaving late at night, Andy, and he was arriving there late at night and then leaving the Willis condo early in the morning.
That's right.
That brings into question again how many times they lied under oath last week.
That's right. We can begin to count the times, and each time that you lied is a count of perjury.
This is about 30 to 40 miles apart, so it's not like they're real close to each other, and you could say like, oh, that was just crossing over. I mean, they were 32 miles apart. If you're kind of like in Metro or Atlanta or even in the suburbs, that's a long way in Atlanta. That is 30 miles is a long drive. That's an hour drive. Unless you're going like he did at 3 a.m, back home. Now, he also said it was under 10 times, and they've got 35 times there. I mean, just a lot of problems for her in this, not just the money and the personal relationship that they lied about. They were under oath last week. Remember that.
She's backed herself into a corner, and so is he.
I mean, at this point, do you just remove yourself if you're her?
If I were her, that would be the right thing to do. That would be
hopefully not get criminally charged.
Yeah, just say,
you know what, this got out of control.
It got out of control. I'm a human being. I made a terrible mistake. I'm withdrawing from the case. My office is being withdrawn from the case. Governor, appoint another prosecutor. I'm sorry I did it. It's what happened. But I don't think FANI WILLIS is that kind of person. I think she's going to persist until the end.
Somebody is in serious trouble as the House Judiciary Committee just tweeted. So this is getting Washington, D.C.'s attention. If she actually thinks that there's any merit in this case, I mean, she charged like 16 people in this, Logan. It's not just President Trump. Some of these people have actually pled out because they just didn't want to be part of this anymore. Who, by the way, who could be restored to justice. Does she just quit this case? Does she drop the case?
That's what I mean. At what point do you just say enough is enough?
She removed herself from the case and say, obviously, I don't think I'm not sure she's the type who does. She's the type who stormed into a room when she didn't have to last week. Yeah. She could have prepared herself.
Well, I think you have to weigh your options at this point and go, what's more damaging to your career? At this point,
over.
I'm saying to back off.
I think.
Yes, but there are ways to spin this.
Yeah, don't try.
And even if it's just a media career. So what you'd rather do is run the clock out. I just don't think she's going to be
running for governor of Georgia now.
Probably not.
Yeah, your political
probably
career
not. But you can figure out a way to, like if you're against the conservatives, against Trump.
Oh, sure.
There are ways you can parlay that to a career. We've seen that. Look at half the MSNBC commentators. They're all the people that we would have said the same thing, whether it's Strzok and Page, and all these people who show up every day like everything is normal. But so I do think there is a bit of that as well. But this data, clearly they knew about it. We heard that from the soundbite there. And now it's going to play out very interestingly. But I think there is something, Jordan, we only got a minute left in this segment, then we definitely want to refocus here. Tell the people, though, why this matters to the big part of the case. In the sense of, essentially, we know why this part's controversial, but how does it actually affect the Trump case?
I mean, she could drop the entire case because the whole case has been compromised. The DA could quit. A new DA would be appointed and say, this is all done. This started off with a lie. So when the DA starts the case off with a lie, I'm not going to try and reset this up for her. I re-prosecute 16 people. Again, restarting, this would have to all restart if she's removed. while President Trump is likely, I mean, he's going to win South Carolina primary tomorrow. The question is, does he win it by, 35 or 40 points? And then you get into Super Tuesday, and it should be basically over at that point. So what prosecutor is going to bring that? Who's going to take on that case? No one. So this could be the end of the Georgia prosecution.
I hope we're starting to see that if anybody watched the testimony that she provided last week, this is a fantasy prosecution, and you can now see that pieces of what they built it upon are beginning to fall down. And I think that's probably going to turn out to be true in New York and Georgia. And I hope that it's so. And I hope most importantly, I hope the American people get a chance to see that with absolute clarity.
They testified that last week that, Nathan Wade, the special counsel she paid $700,000 to, had only been to her condo about 10 times and had never spent the night there. Well, we now have cell phone data from his cell phone that he made 35 visits there, and multiple times got there late at night, and the phone did not leave until the morning. So you've got two situations there where they both were testifying to this, and they also were testifying about the dates of their relationship. Look, they brought this on themselves by her hiring him for an exorbitant amount of money, $700,000. He has no specialty in RICO cases. And they went under oath last week. Remember, she stormed in the room to go under oath last week with this testimony. And so now the questions are, does she just drop out? Does she ultimately, it looks like she's going to get removed. If this all comes out to be correct and she can't refute this, I don't know how a judge keeps her on this case. And then a new DA comes in, and do they really want to prosecute this case anymore? So is this the first one we may see actually fall? We see the FANI WILLIS news that we talked about there. They lied about how many times they were together. It looks like the cell phone data is refuting that by about 25 to 26 times. They lied about spending the night together, the contact, thousands of text messages, thousands of phone calls. So we know the judge has got a hearing on Monday with Wade's former partner, who tried to claim a lot of privilege last week. We also know that both sides get to present a final argument in this. It's not, again, it's like the defense is actually presenting, the final case. I don't know if we even get there next week, or does Willis just say, I'm out. I'll recuse myself from this case. Then a new DA would get put forward, and I'm not sure they'd have to restart everything from zero. Her entire office would be removed. So they'd have to start from zero, and then you get towards way too close to political interference. So again, this news is very important, because not just to Donald Trump, but to all those other people who, again, are facing the political persecution of being, legal persecution of being associated with or working for Donald Trump.